Hello everybody, it's Umber Rays here, and yes, before you say anything, before you type anything, I know the hair is short. Matter of fact, it's too short. I didn't want it to actually be this short, but this is how it ended up. Oh well, I guess I'm good for a while, right? And yeah, I'm just gonna have to live with it. But whether you like the hair or not, we're here for News Day, so let's get into the news. First off, some JP news for Global. JP is starting its one-a-day countdown to Global's 5th anniversary. That's right, Global is gone, but not forgotten. Missing some banners, but still alive. And of course, no one is more pessimistic about this than my viewership. But anyway, I'm not here to cast stones. Basically just reporting on the fact that we are getting this countdown to Global's 5th anniversary here on JP. It's some acknowledgement that stuff is happening, that Global still exists, so I don't think you're going to EOS quite yet. Maybe put that card back in the deck. But yeah, some rewards, some resources you can get between now and then. We'll see what new characters show up around April 1st, as it is basically counting down to that April 1st date, and which is the next character for JP. And who knows, maybe we're going to get a simultaneous release like we did last year with Spring June, who turned out to be a really excellent character. Anyway, continuing on, next up, the probably final Final Fantasy IX event will be coming up, which is the Festival of the Hunt. Basically a kind of score challenge to get the highest score that you can possibly get, and there will be titles for some of the very best that there has ever been. And yeah, moving on. Also, Dark Veritas' quest line will be getting expanded starting on March 25th. I still haven't done number 4, but there is some good news about that, which could make number 4 a little bit easier. Just haven't had time to get around to it, but we can see a great sword will be coming in with this one. So this probably is going to get pretty close to completing Dark Veritas, one of the last ones that we have to do. There'll be undoubtedly a few more before the end, but yeah, look forward to this kind of quest and how maybe potentially difficult it will be. Limit Burst mission, not too terribly much to say here, so we'll move on. As for upgrades, we do actually have some upgrades, and these do tie in with a little bit of the Dark Veritas quest. I actually thought I had this page opened on my other one, but on my other screen, but I guess I'm not. So let me just pull that up real quick. Okay, so limit burst enhancements for that didn't translate. Earth Veritas. Also, we have Lucio getting a limit burst upgrade, Shadow Links of the Crystal Bow, and Ketone of the Moon Fist. I'm a little bit glad that those upgrades are coming out after the arena week that we are currently having. More on that later, but there you go. Limit burst upgrades as such. Earth Veritas will also be getting a Master Quest 2 for him, and then we have Master Quest 3 for Wingstern, Celebratory, Jaden, Miranda, and Grasnak. So all of those upgrades looks like we are going to be getting for the, just basically the next update. Moving on. And of course, wouldn't be an update without vision cards. And at first I thought, when I looked at these, I was like, oh my god, is that another Esper? No, it's not. The left one is not an Esper. It is our next Veritas vision card, which I will talk about very quickly. But looking at this other vision card, now this is Karsha's VC. It will be active for Greatsword, Gun, and Staff for basically Karsha's. And that is it. So it's interesting. This one does not support the kind of the game plan that Karsha's been going with, which is seemingly like katanas or, well, a variety of stuff, but really pushes her more towards light, greatsword, gun, and staff, really kind of feels like Yuna and Hero King Mont, which is an interesting combination. I haven't seen too much of it. This VC for the party will give increased weakness resistance and max HP up for the entire party, providing that they have the correct jobs. Also, the wider the attack range, the greater reduction in magic damage. And then for guild battle only, increase reaction block rate. The granted effect to the unit that has this equipped is increased speed. And for maxing out this VC for guild battles, HP up of 3%, area attack resistance up of 1. I don't know. I'm a little bit soft on this. This doesn't feel like something that Karsh's teams need, but it also doesn't feel super synergistic. I'm not too terribly worried because Mentor does kind of pop up. Well, basically, like Karsh's group essentially does pop up on multiple different VCs, so I'm not too terribly worried about that. It'll be probably future VCs that really determine where she actually does end up sitting with what teams and what future characters. But I think as I have said before, I think that this character will have a long life ahead of her. Just going to be interesting to see where it ends up with, but this is a very, very defensive VC. It isn't too terribly surprising character. Now, the other thing, we do have this vision card for the Veritas units, and these are always really nice for getting through some of these trials because they definitely do make a pretty big difference, and it's good to just have. One thing I will note that I am particularly pleased about this VC is that it is Fire Veritas and Light Veritas. So those two, I was kind of wondering if they were going to be doing medals or not for these characters, or if it, like Light Veritas was going to get paired with Dark and Fire with Wind, and then you would need to use all the Fire Veritas medals to get that, and not so much the Wind ones, and then same with Light and Dark. But they have paired the two guild ones together. It's sweet artwork, no complaints whatsoever about the artwork. Also, I mean, I didn't comment on the last one, but apparently there are red pandas in that world. Interesting. So for axe, gun, mace, or book, increase resistance to type chains as well as single target attacks. Maxing out this VC will give critical evasion. And for duels only, increase resistance to AoE attacks. Light and Fire, Veritas of all attributes, however, will get Dark and Ice attribute ability attack up for resistances. So that's going to be generally pretty good, as you're probably still going to be fighting Dark Veritas in those trials. So this will be a nice VC for stacking more resistance against that. Granted effect is increase maximum HP and increase resistance penetration for AoE attacks, which makes sense. Like Veritas has some big AoEs, and same with Fire Veritas can do, if I'm remembering correctly, does have some AoEs, so works well there. Not Bright, but what Light Veritas will get magic power up. The wider the attack, the greater magic damage reduction. Fire Veritas will get increased attack and increased accuracy. And for duels only, maximum HP up of 3%. Fire attribute attack up by 2. So there you go. That is everything that we are looking at for this update, which will be coming next week. As of just looking at the actual schedule here, Tuesday on JP. So if there's any interesting things to do with this update beyond the scope of what we are seeing right now, I will comment about that later. But also, I am keeping a very, very close eye on the Special Grand Arena this week. It is proving to be very interesting for what units are turning out to be top tier. So stay tuned also for that later. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. And my head, kind of cold right now. Later.